The mastery of trance. One way to change the world. The world is how you dream it. The Indians of Ecuador and Peru say that the world is how you dream it. Everyone lives in his specific perception of the world, according to a unique and individual perspective. Filters of perception. We could say that we build our reality through a partial perception of the coming data. This segregation of the data depends on many filters. Since we can only perceive the information that is within a small range of sound and visual frequencies, an example of this filter is represented by the physiological limits of our senses. Another filter is, for instance, the language, calling and emphasizing only a few things compared to all that there is. This filter appears clearly if you compare the different languages calling the same things so often in ways that don't match each other. The language is also used to think, to clarify ideas. And the more it calls and defines things, the more you lose parts of the original truth of them. Another filter is the culture that assigns to things a value and a purpose rather than another. Another one is past experience that make us instantly judge the event using memories of past trauma and in order not to repeat them again. The result of these processes is that we never see the truth. Each of us perceives its limited, specific reality. A reality that depends on the state of consciousness. The states of consciousness are the ways of organizing perception. In other words, they are the mental and emotional attitudes specific to each level of awareness. Trance. In biotrance energetic, in order to describe what in psychology is called a state of consciousness, we prefer to use the word trance. The word trance, in fact, is more suitable to the nature of living systems because it has in it a sense of becoming, a sense of transit. The organisms, in fact, are systems open to the environment in constant and impermanent motion in their self-organization cycles. The physicist Capra, in his book The Turning Point, in this respect, talks about self-organization of the living, considering every living being as a system capable of self-renewal and self-transcendence. For self-renewal, Capra means the ability of living system to continually renew their components, while maintaining the integrity of the overall structure. The self-transcendence, however, is the ability to overcome creatively mental and physical boundaries within the process of development, evolution, and learning. These factors intervene together to maintain a dynamic balance in the evolution of the organism. Within this dynamic, the success of the self-renewal process also depends on the number of variables the living being keeps fluctuating within the limits of its structure. The more the living system is in fluidity, the greater the stability and thus the self-renewal. Technically, we can explain the trance as a trinary unit. If we look at the flow of happening events, we realize that everything manifests in one way, that is, in a how. We could say that the how is more powerful than the what, because the how gives meaning to the event that is happening. We can then detect a third factor, the relationship between what happens and how it happens. The relationship can be seen as the field or the space in which the event takes place. The relationship between what happens and how it happens, in turn, includes the what and the how and gives them a broader sense. This trinary unit of what, how, and the field of relationship between the what and the how is called trance in biotrance energetics. In simpler words, we can therefore say that in trance, the trance in biotrance energetic is the world how you dream it. The word trance is so important that is part of the name of the discipline. In fact, in biotrance energetics we operate mastering the states of consciousness, or better, mastering the trance. The intent of BTE is to study the inner experience to guide people in the journey to awakening, a path that can more or less gradually introduce the change towards the expansion of consciousness. The removal of the veil of illusion allows a growing awareness of the truth. Maps for the expansion of the consciousness. According to the BTE, the way we see the world can belong to the world of knowledge or the world of awareness. The difference depends on the way of organizing the perception that may be of two types, respectively mode of linear conscience or insight mode. The two worlds. The world of reality. The world of knowledge is the kingdom called by Carlos Castaneda first attention, a state of ordinary conscience in which the reactive mind and emotional identification dominate. Here, the way of knowing is linear, rational, and partial. You only see the appearance and not beyond. The first attention is also known as the dual mind. This is the plane of reality, the stage on which the events occur. It's a state of consciousness that gives priority to the matter, the body, to the identification with discursive thought, and rational science is a method of understanding of what exists. The dual mind separates in order to learn, denies the empty space, labeling each event according to the past experience. The ordinary mind works in a continuous sense of becoming in time. Choices are based on judgmental thought. Situations are faced by fighting them through strategies, and fear controls them. It tends to delegate, to reason on the basis of fault. The first attention casts on what it perceives, the contents arising from the inherited family patterns and traumas and character traits. The dual mind lives in identification with a personal story. The I feels object and chooses on the basis of post-traumatic experience, trying to avoid them. For this purpose, it compares the present with previous events and is driven by fears for the future. It is focused on the problems and how best solve them, and reasons for objectives which place in the future. The dual mind, therefore, is never present in the here and now. Let's see the world of truth. In the world of awareness, insights allows us to understand beyond appearance through insights. This is the world of observation without judgment and disidentification. The unitive mind, or the second attention, is present to itself in the here and now, gives up with confidence to the flow of life. It is guided by the feeling and accepts responsibility. It faces situations, considering them facts instead of problems. The mind recognizes itself as the essence, undivided from everything, and feels at home and bliss everywhere. The world of knowledge, although is useful to calculate and measure, when considered as the only mode, alienates us from our nature living room for the suffering due to the excessive attachment to objects of reality. Since the objects are impermanent manifestation, the loss or the fear of losing them causes suffering. This disharmony affects all levels of existence, from the physical to the mental and spiritual, by creating a general state of malaise. In the world of consciousness, we live in harmony with our nature, in a dimension of joy, balance, and fulfillment. It's a state of well-being, in and out of us. That's why allowing this step is so important to help us to be happy and to create a better world. Let's see how to pass from the world of knowledge in the world of consciousness. In BTE, the BTE is a discipline with many tools. His body of practices is organized in awareness keys. Awareness keys are some processes allowing to reduce the identification with the thoughts, that is, with the dual mind. Thus, we can draw from the mystery of the unitive dimension and true nature pulsing and manifesting itself in and out of each of us. And we can draw from his natural ability to self-renewal and self-transcendence. Keys of awareness. The keys of awareness are tools that can let us open the door of the world of consciousness on the path to the awakening of consciousness. They are 9 keys, and each of them is adapted to the particular condition in which you are currently. The first of them is the one that is characterized by the minimum intervention by the therapist. The last one is the one in which you are more actively guided by the therapist. The keys of awareness work describe describing the different combination of regularities that in practical experience have been observed during the occurrence of the consciousness awakening processes. This set of keys provides you with maps indicating whether and where you are in the process of awakening. Among these, I want to make you aware of the key called Mastery of Trance. When we are experiencing difficulties during the day, we feel the need to move away from it, to escape from the painful experience. If we stay here without moving, we can apply the key of the Mastery of Trance. The key is applied becoming one with the conflict or the suffering, leaving the suffering fully. By doing so, we allow the problems to show us the treasure that hides within them. Thanks to the self-transcendence capacity of our nature, we exceed the limit of appearance, allowing the hidden polarities to emerge. In other words, becoming the difficulty, leaving it totally, we can find out what is the information that needs to be understood in order to interrupt forever the repetition of the conflict occurring. As you can see, in the mastery of trance, taking responsibility of how you are dreaming the world is crucial. Taking responsibility allows us to stop being at the mercy of events and emotion, but to act consciously, to consciously transform the world you perceive. Keys of awareness are intended to help in the path of consciousness awakening. On this lesson, we have seen how important it is to take responsibility for our own trance. To do so, you can now follow me into a brief practice of disidentification from the dual thinking. Just close your eyes. And put your spine erect and your body relaxed. Take 3 deep breaths. Slowly. And now feel the inner energy, the living energy of your body. Don't think about it, just feel it. The vibrating energy of your inner body. Of life living in your body. You can start, for example, from your head, feeling the beat into your head, the beat of your heart into your head, And then you can feel it into your neck, into your shoulders, into your arms, your hands, your chest, and so on till your legs and your feet. Your eyes are closed, and you precisely know the position of your body because you can feel it. You can feel the vibrating sense of life into your body. And just keep your attention there. Exploring how much you can feel the living energy of your body. You can feel just one part, and that's okay. Or you can feel all your body, all the energy flowing into your body. Just stay in your inner body for that moment. Just now. Just focus your attention just on your body. On the feeling of being living, on the feeling of being alive. Feeling life beating inside you. Concentrating your attention inside your body. Now just put your attention, just focus your own attention to your breath, to the awareness that you are breathing. It doesn't matter how you are breathing. Just be aware that you are breathing. And be careful not to interrupt your breathing. Feel the air going inside your lungs and going outside from your nose. And if there are some thoughts coming over, disturbing your focusing, just gently guide your attention back to the breath, back to your body. You are not your thoughts. You are at home, inside you. Now, just gently open your eyes. And I thank you for being listening to me.